Hey everybody, welcome to part two of our prayer series. This is going to be pretty short because it's pretty simple. It might be simple, but I think it's been powerful for me in my life. So I'm going to start with a story. Yesterday, my wife told me that one of our three girls, I have three girls, 6, 9, and 10 years old, but one of them started talking on the way home about a boy and saying kind of all the girls in class like this one boy because he's like the cutest boy. He reads the most words in their reading words contest. He's the smartest. He wins like baseball championships. Oh my goodness, he's like perfect. Anyway, so they all like this boy. And of course, the dad in me was like, oh my goodness, I got my girls already liking boys, and I know that's going to happen. So, it's just going to happen. But here's my point. That was a little worry because I know God's going to take care of that. But there are plenty of days, probably every day, where I worry about something. And just in the last few months, here's something that I've learned to do with worry. I've learned instead of trying to get rid of it or ask God to, magically take care of it so there's nothing to worry about anymore, to start being thankful for it. Now that might sound kind of weird, but let me explain. So we're talking about prayer. So we should really talk about the Lord's Prayer. I mean, Jesus taught the disciples how to pray in Matthew chapter 6. And the first half, like 50% of his prayer, was telling them that what they needed to do was look up, was all about God. So, I mean, verses 9 and 10 in chapter 6 are, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name, your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Okay, so first half, all about God, not about us at all, right? That's how we're supposed to pray half the time. I'm going to admit, maybe you'll admit too, that's definitely not how I pray half the time, and that's not how I start most of my prayer. I mean, 50%, the 50% of the time of most of my prayers, right? I might say that at the very beginning. God, you're awesome. Really, thank you. You're cool. Now I've got some things, right? So I don't think I spend 50% of my time just telling God how awesome he is. I've gotten better at it. But anyway, I don't think most people do, and I certainly haven't most of my life. But here's what I've learned to do. Well, so the reason why I believe we really struggle with that is because instead of our eyes mostly on him, our eyes are mostly on ourselves. And I think the reason that our eyes are mostly on ourselves is because the world's not perfect, our life's not perfect, and there's things that we worry about. And the question is, how do we get through that worry so that we can spend 50% of our prayers saying to God, you're amazing, you're awesome, and have our eyes, be in the right place. Well, he could come down with his magic wand and just kind of make everything okay, but then we live in a perfect world, so I don't see that happening. Instead, we go to James chapter 1, and in James chapter 1, it says, consider it pure joys whenever you face trials or troubles or challenges of any kind. So I want to change a word in there and say, how about consider it pure joy whenever you worry? Now, I know God said not to worry, right? Don't worry. There's no value in worrying. Don't worry. Okay. But I'm just going to consider worry a struggle or a challenge because it is, right? It's something we shouldn't do. So it's a challenge, right? It's something that's come at us and we're worried about whatever we're worried about. Here's what I've started to do. Instead of saying to God, God, I got this worry, my kid's sick or the finances or whatever's going on in my life, please help me, please help me, please help me, please help me. Like if I just say, please help me long enough, maybe he will. What I've started to say is, God, I'll say it first still, by the way, and then it doesn't really help that much. And then I'll say, you know what, God, I just want to thank you that right now there is something in my life that's out of my control. I can just be the best dad I can be for my daughters. Or I can work as hard as I can in my business and what I do. But there's a lot of things that are out of my hands. If there's a sickness or there's a disease going on that, that other than trying to live a healthy life, that's out of my control. God, there's something going on that's causing me to worry, that's causing me to look at me as opposed to you. And I'd rather be looking at you, but I'm worried right now. So God, I want to say, thank you. Thank you for the worry. Thank you for this feeling of being overwhelmed. Because in this feeling of being overwhelmed, in this worry, God, by your grace, you've helped me choose to turn to you. And because of this feeling of being overwhelmed or worry, go back to James chapter 1, I know that you're training me, you're testing me, you're putting me through kind of the refining fire. You're drawing me closer to you. You're helping me to rely on you more. And in that, anything that will draw me closer to you is, it's not always easy, but it's wonderful. it's something I can rejoice in today. When I start turning my worry into joy, even if it's joy because of the worry or joy for the worry, it really starts to get a lot better and my eyes start looking up. And so it might seem like such a small thing, but what I know is when we're talking about prayer, that oftentimes a big challenge in prayer is that we're just always worried about something. We're always wanting something we don't have. And, we're always facing a struggle or a challenge or a dream so big or whatever it is. But God has said, look to him. Half the prayer should be about praising him. How do we make that shift? So this little nugget that hopefully helps somebody is whenever you face that challenge or that worry, instead of just praying it away, which you can pray for, you can pray that God does something and he might immediately do something. But you can also say, man, I thank you that life's not perfect. I thank you that, I'm not perfect. Because if I was perfect, I wouldn't need God. We're going to be when we get there, but not here. So thank you for this that is acting as a catalyst in my life to draw me closer to you. And that's what we're zeroing in on today. So I hope that blessed you, and look forward to talking to you in part 3. Bye.